Without further ado, this is Don Smith. Don Smith is a native West Virginian. He's from the Northern Panhandle. He is started out as a newspaper guy. He has lived in multiple places all around the state. He for the last 10 years, he was the executive director of the West Virginia Press Association. He's been a lobbyist. He's been incredible in terms of what he has already contributed to the school. He's been with us a little over a year, I think, and it's just amazing his connections both with our legislature and the political process. And without further ado, Don Smith.
Thank you, sir. Nick, are we good? Yes, we are. Hi, everyone, here and online. Dr. Nimitz did the introduction, so I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to get right into what we're doing here. First, though, I want to thank Shannon and the Alumni Association for this event. It was a great night last night. It's been very educational. And if you're online and you don't come to these, try and get here. The interaction with the people makes all the difference. And I would like everyone in the room, if we could, I met, just having breakfast, met Dr. Lee and his wife, Lena. Dr. Lee, would you raise your hand? And he's up from Bluefield, Virginia. And if I'm right, he's a VCOM grad, correct? But came up for this. So if you're here in person, you get to meet people. And that makes all the difference. And it really ties into what the last comments about government and what I'm going to say. So we are developing a very strong government relations team at the school. And I want you to know that I work with Shannon and the Alumni Association, and we want to engage the alumni in our efforts and help you with your efforts. So view us as a resource. We will share my contact information and you can reach out. Our team is led by President Nimitz. As you can tell, such a polished speaker. You're going from a very polished speaker to basically a work boot here. So be aware, no one ever wants to follow him speaking when we go places. And I'm the same way, but it's my job. He's out promoting our school, doing speaking engagements, traveling, pushing our issues, raising our visibility, and he has a clear vision of what he wants, and that makes a lot of difference. And if you follow his strategic plan of what's next, you can see that what's next at WVSOM is a hell of a lot. There's a lot going on, and it's an exciting time to be there. We also have others involved on the team besides President Nimitz and myself. Dr. Dreama Hill was on the transition team for Governor Morrissey, and she'll be involved with the health decisions going forward. So we hope that influence is beneficial to us. Brian Lutz is our general counsel and has been very helpful with legal questions we have. We also work with consultants. We work with Kurt Dettinger and Gil White at Steptoe and Johnson through S&J Concepts. We work with Bill Perry as a consultant for the state issues, just as consultant. And we have Mike Fulton with Asher Agency in DC. So we are not just working the Capitol in West Virginia, we are working the Capitol in DC. President Nimitz was in DC at the end of the year last year, did a TV spot, met with all of our leaders. So we are very active trying to do that. And it helps. That face-to-face contact really helps because it takes a team to maximize your potential and efforts. And this is our goal. And I want you guys to understand this because this is where you come in and make us helpful. Our goal, while this is part of the process, is not to fight for or support certain legislation. That's going to be part of it when we do that. But our goal is to raise this school's visibility to the point that when legislative leaders and congressional leaders talk about the legislation they're going to present, before it's developed, they always call WVSOM first and ask about our input on what their plans are. Our goal is to raise the visibility to the point that they're considering us. We want Dr. Nimitz and Dean Boyd and others at the school to be recognized as the experts they are and to be given a seat at the table. Let's help them build good legislation instead of have to fight legislation or promote legislation. Let's know where we are before we get there. So that's our goal. That's the president. He wants us to lead that visibility raise as he talked about earlier. And we've been moving in that direction for years, and we're going to continue that. That's the goal. We have a new governor, new legislative leadership, new people in Congress. It takes outreach, and that's where a lot of you come in. This morning, I don't want to talk about any one piece of legislation right now because we don't know where everything is. It's still happening with the inaugural, everything's pushed back. So everything is still in the process. But I want to talk about effective advocacy, lobbying, and government relations. None of you went to medical school to deal with the legislature and work in government. That was never your goal. But you all learn quickly it impacts your life, it impacts your practice. So it's very important that we get involved. What I want to talk about is methods of being more effective regardless of your position on policy, programs, or people. And I do have a request of all of you. Please support the government relations efforts of the school. And I'll explain how I want you to support them. I'm not talking about what positions may come up, what bills may come up. I'm asking you to do this. Remind your elected representative that you are a WVSOM grad. That's very important. The people in your hometown. Make sure that your delegate, even your county commissioner, your city person, but your delegate, your senator, make sure they know you're a grad and ask them one-to-one, face-to-face, to take meetings with President Nimitz and myself. It helps. The best communications is face-to-face. You talking one-to-one is the most important. We're in a group here, I want to say to you, my name is Don Smith. I want you to remember the name, and if I reach out, you'll know who it is. That matters. Number two, share your concerns and information and news with myself, with the president. As the president asked, we want to hear your ideas. We need to know what the alumni think. So it has to be a give and take. It has to be an open channel of communication. It can't be once a year. So we need to have that on a regular basis. Shannon will work with me. We'll get information out to you guys through emails and the listserv, and you can get things back to us. You'll have my email. So do that outreach. And then read the information that Shannon and I and the school puts out. We'll keep it short and to the point. You don't have to agree. We're not saying we all agree. That no one in this room will agree on everything, but it's good to know what's being said, and it's good if you respond. Now, why do I ask for your support? Well, WVSOM, like each of you as a physician, your office and the hospitals you work in are vital to the well-being of the state, and we're economic engines. And that's very important to the legislature. So that matters. But in terms of outreach for the school, the alumni, the students, and the state's health needs are the foundation of any influence that we can have at the Capitol with the legislature or in Congress. All legislative leaders have health conditions and have doctors. You guys have access to them that other people don't have. And you need to realize how important that is. And I'm addressing the West Virginia State Legislature, but this applies to any state, any government body. But these are specific to West Virginia. We have 134 members in the legislature combined, representing all 55 counties. There's 100 members in the House, all single districts, and there are 34 in the Senate with 2 members in each of 17 districts. The House has 91 Republicans and 9 Democrats. The Senate has 32 Republicans and 2 Democrats. So there are supermajorities in both chambers. That's important to remember. The Senate now has 18 committees. The House has changed its format. It has 6 major committees. And then each of those major committees that's down from about 20, and each of those major committees has 2 or 3 subcommittees. Some of those subcommittees are as small as 10 members. That's vital for you to know. If there are 10 members and we can convince 6 members to vote one way or the other, a piece of legislation dies or it passes. So every vote, the delegate in your district matters. If we can convince 6 people that this is a bad piece of legislation, it might not move. Or if it's a good piece of legislation, it will move. Now, not all legislation will start in a subcommittee. Some may start in a major committee, but you understand the process I'm talking to you about. This means we might be able to stop a bill with 6 votes. All right, now I'll finish up with this. In 2024, we had nearly 1,000 alumni practicing in 52 counties in this state. That's influence. We had 166 students at our school from 33 counties. That's influence. Folks, if we have a coordinated advocacy program, we can have legislative influence, but it's only if you want it. The key to be engaged and be coordinated. Knowing your legislator is helpful. Knowing all the legislators in your district is very helpful. And having a coordinated message is the key. Now, I want to do a little audience engagement here. I want each of you out loud, because there's people listening. I want to show you the difference. Each of you say your name right now, if you would, please. Everyone, 1, 2, 3, Dawn Smith. Okay. Okay, let's do it again. Let's get coordinated here. Okay, after 3. 1, 2, 3, Dawn Smith. Okay, kind of a mixed message. Now, but that's important because that name's important to your individual legislator. Don't underestimate the value of you to that legislator. Now, each of you say the county you live in. After 3. 1, 2, 3, Greenbrier. Okay, that's important to all the people in the Senate, in the House, because you have more than one representative representing you. So they need to know you too. Now, after 3, everyone in this room say doctor. 1, 2, 3, doctor. Do it again. 1, 2, 3. Doctor. One word, one message, coordinated. That makes a difference. You guys we need to get organized so that when they're at the Capitol, they're hearing doctor. They understand the importance of you guys. Now, here is how that coordinates even further. And I want to ask for a little chant. I want to see it 3 times. WVSOM, WVSOM, WVSOM. Come on, let's hear it. WVSOM. Get some, it's early in the morning. You guys need the energy. Let's go. WVSOM, WVSOM. If they are hearing that and thinking that at the Capitol, we have coordinated advocacy and it works. You guys said your own name. You said your county. We all said doctor. If we can get that doctor and that WVSOM raised up to an awareness level, we have more influence. That will get us that seat at the table. That will allow you to be effective. Remember this, legislators vote on bills in Charleston. They get elected at home. You are very important to them. They get elected at home. You have to be advocates. So legislators need to know that all doctors, DOs and MDs, are engaged in care and following their actions. And be aware of this. Once you get the legislatures to realize that doctors, healthcare, our school is important, then it will break into various groups. You have different positions. You have different opinions. Some of you may fight for a bill. Some of you may oppose a bill. An association may have this position. Another association may have this position. The hospital may be here. We can do that later. If we fight before we get the attention, we don't have any influence. Work together, get the attention, and then decide how you're going to work the actual piece of legislation, which again, we don't have anything yet. So be aware of that. I'm not talking about bills. I'm not talking about policies. I'm not talking about positions. I'm talking about effective advocacy. And I think we can be more effective if we take the right steps. I'll be sharing my contact information with you, but think about this. Think about being active. I'll take some questions, but WVSOM power, doctor power matters. So if there's any questions, but I hope this has been helpful.
I have a question. I'm sitting for Winona, and I want to make you all aware that we're working with the State Medical and Hospital Association, the Behavioral Health Association. Oh, it's mine. A variety of groups, and we'll be doing a Physicians' Day of Advocacy at the legislature, and I don't have my calendar. I think it's March the 12th. The night before, we'll have a reception at the Cultural Center, and it's co-sponsored by us and the other medical groups for the legislatures. So I'll have information on that closer to, and we want everybody to turn out, and it's, we're going to do a group physician effort so that they know that all the DOs and the MDs, all the doctors are together.
Thank you, Penny. That's a key.
That's convenient. It's March 12th, which is the first day of giving for the foundation. Okay, we are now on our break.